Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. We've got quite an interesting video for you today because we are breaking down one of the first big dominoes to fall in the NFL offseason, and that is Matthew Stafford on the move to the LA Rams, Jared Goff and a boatload of picks heading back to Detroit. So, I personally didn't expect it to happen this fast. So this is a pretty raw reaction from us because we just found out earlier today, as of the day we're making this. We know it's been a couple of days by the time you're seeing this, but Matthew Stafford is an LA Ram. What do we think of it?
Well, first of all, I wasn't completely shocked. Of course, this was a huge move that's going to have huge implications on this league. And I say I wasn't completely shocked because of two reasons. A, I had heard that for some reason the Rams were looking to get a quarterback, and we'll explain why they might have wanted to go out and get a different quarterback besides Jared Goff as the video goes on. So that's reason number one why I was not completely blown away. Again, this was a huge move, and it's pretty cool to see. But number two is that we had seen, I forgot what I was going to say, but I remember now. We had seen reports earlier on the day that he was traded that the Lions were looking to trade Matthew Stafford before the Super Bowl happened. So we knew that if something was going to happen, it was probably going to happen sooner rather than later. So I was not completely shocked because of those two reasons. But this is a huge move for both sides. We'll talk about who won it. We're going to talk about everything, break down this whole deal for you guys here on the Touchdown Table.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Jordan, it's a huge move, and as I try and fix this microphone that for some reason is not that loud, it's getting better there. But I put on the thumbnail blockbuster trade because that's what it is. It's the first blockbuster trade we've seen this year. It's two quarterbacks swapping teams. It's huge to look at, and I mean we could get into who won it and who lost it, but I mean this is, as Ryan said, it's the first big domino to fall in what should be a wild offseason. But my initial reaction to it was that the Lions had won it by a lot. And as I started to think about it, you just go, the Rams are a win now team. They're one quarterback away, and I know they don't have any first round draft picks for a while. And I know my chin is bleeding if you can see that or not.
Oh,
But
you okay?
yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
But
it might just be some pimple thing
yeah,
in there that
maybe
popped.
teenage problems.
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
I could see it.
It's close. I do think this trade is close, just because the Rams, I think, are Super Bowl contenders now with Matthew Stafford, and maybe that attracting more people to go there. Where I'm concerned is they still don't have much cap space. So I'm gonna stop talking, hand it over to you, and try and fix this microphone.
Well, yeah, Tyler, I agree with you completely on that, and that's something I think is very important to talk about because, as you said, the Rams are in win now mode. They've throughout kind of these past few seasons been acquiring players. They got people like Jalen Ramsey, really taking a lot of Jaguars players. They've been picking up a lot of good free agents and building up their team. And it seemed like just throughout this whole year, the one weak point was that Jared Goff was not putting up the constant numbers that they'd want to see. There were some games that he was playing great, but there were other ones where he was kind of dragging them down a bit. And this team, as Tyler said, I believe is really in win now mode. This defense is, in my opinion, the best defense going in or last season. I think it was the best defense, especially towards the end. They really got their stuff together, and that offense is looking good. The running back crew, it seemed like it's coming together. The wide receiving corps in LA is really great. I think that they could really do some awesome things. And now with Matthew Stafford at the helm, I mean, watch out. This team could be going to the Super Bowl again soon. They won a playoff game against the Seahawks, and they're looking for more. This move shows it.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you guys. I think the Rams, I mean, they were already clearly a decent team. I mean, they were in the, final eight teams this season, making it all the way to the divisional round. So clearly they weren't that far, and then, just a couple years removed from playing in Super Bowl 53. So I think that you guys are exactly right. The Rams are ready, and they believe they can win now. And what are you doing over there? And I want to be clear. I don't think Jared Goff is horrible. I mean, yes, I think Matthew Stafford is no question an upgrade, but Jared Goff, he's not horrible. There are worse quarterbacks out there than him, but no question Matthew Stafford is an upgrade over Jared Goff for sure and by a significant margin. I'm so excited to see what he'll do with Sean McVay, one of the great young offensive minds.
Sean McVay.
Yes, Sean McVay. Yeah, Sean McVay, talks like this. No, but I really like Sean McVay. I think that he'll do great things with Stafford, and I'm just so excited to see this new Rams offense. You got Stafford, under McVay, throwing to guys like Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, the great offensive line.
Cam Akers.
He really finished the season strong. That they really did find, an identity
on both
in the ground
sides.
game. Yes, they did. And, I just think that the Rams are set, and they are in win now mode. And yes, they gave up a lot, but at the end of the day, sometimes you got to overpay for quarterbacks, whether that's signing a guy in free agency or giving up a lot of draft capital for a guy like Stafford. But we've always talked about on this channel.
He
How
says
we
this
felt,
as a Texans fan.
yeah, like
Tr-
if we
trying
trade
to-
Watson, it better be 4 or 5 first round. I mean, no, really think about it though. I mean,
Think about
Watson's much younger.
There are
and
big
he's better.
implications on that trade based
Yeah.
on what we're seeing in
It's a tone
this
setter.
Stafford
It's a
trade.
tone setter.
It is, yeah. And
As we've seen with quarterbacks getting paid more, like with Mahomes, he got paid $50 million. That could be a tone setter for future quarterbacks who want to get paid. Just like that, this is a tone setter for trades that Ryan wants to see with the Texans.
Yes, well, ideally I want us to keep him, but I don't think that's
Oh, yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for the Rams, they did give up a lot. But at the end of the day, if you feel that you're a quarterback away, which the Rams clearly felt, like go for it. Go try and win that Super Bowl. They're in a tough division. They want to go win. Go do it. At the end of the day, if you really believe Matthew Stafford could be the guy, I think he can. I think he's got a lot left in the tank. So if you're a Rams fan, I understand why you're maybe a little weary about giving up that much draft capital again, because you have not made a first round selection since the selection of the guy you just traded in Jared Goff. That's insane. But at the end of the day, they have gotten close in the past couple years, made it to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, made it to the divisional round this past season. So if you're the Rams, you're in full win now mode. So it's not quite. I mean, I don't know. This might be a little bold, but it's kind of Super Bowl or bust, because that's what you're saying.
That's true.
And that's the statement
That's
you're
true.
making to your team, but also to really the rest of the league and all of the fans of our great league. When you make a trade like this, you're saying we're going all in for this thing.
Yeah, and I feel like we'll get to the Lions side of it in a second.
Yeah, I have
here,
some things to say about
because that definitely is important. But I want to stick on Matthew Stafford specifically here, because they sold out for Matthew Stafford, and this year for Matthew Stafford was, all right with the Lions. He had some good games, of course, and he was injured and stuff too throughout the season. So it wasn't the greatest season just because of the way that offense kind of ran for him. But going into this season and years prior, we have been high on Matthew Stafford here at the table. Me and Ryan specifically. I know Tyler has been too, but coming into the season, I, of all people, was extremely high on Matthew Stafford. I thought he was going to do really good things. He reminds me a lot of just an older Patrick Mahomes. He has fantastic arm strength. He's a great, great quarterback who's just been on a not great team for a pretty long time. So now he's really getting his shot, and I feel like it is in this situation worth it to this team to get a guy like Matthew Stafford. Because remember, this is not just any quarterback, in my opinion. This is not just some other guy. I feel like this is a guy who has had his potential being held down his whole entire career. Now is the time where we can really see who Matthew Stafford truly is on a good team with great players around him on both sides of the ball. This is where we truly see who Matthew Stafford is. And I'm here to tell you right now that I think Matthew Stafford is going to play lights out.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jordan. I would say that as well, just because, as you said, we haven't seen him with that type of talent, and I've been seeing a lot of photoshops of Stafford on the Rams now, and it just seems like the underrated side of that trade is. Let's not forget Jared Goff is now going to be with the Detroit Lions here. I haven't really seen any photoshops of it. It was tough to find one for the video. I found one for Stafford right away, but it's something that you reverse it, and you kind of go, well, look, the Rams just lost more first-round picks, but they're getting a quarterback that gives them a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
And you could say, well, they just gave up so much. But then you also got to look at the Lions side of it, because they have those picks now. And
We don't know when they are, right?
I just saw 2 first-rounders. Yeah. I don't know exactly
I don't think the whole details
when
are out
when
yet.
it was.
For us, at least.
Yeah. But you look at it, I think the Lions are set up better for the future because of those picks and because they still have a young quarterback now just to try and groom here. But the Rams right now, I think they win this trade a couple years down the line if Stafford's not playing as well as he is and they are finally getting their first-round pick in 2028, then they might be in some trouble. But right now, I think this was a good trade for both sides. If I had to pick, I would say the Lions would have won this trade just because they're getting the picks for the future and a quarterback that's got a chance to shine in the now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want to, kind of jump off of what you said and talk about Jared Goff in Detroit, because, this is a quarterback swap. There's 2 QBs in this deal. And when I think of Jared Goff in Detroit, I think of him as a guy who's going to give them a chance to win. He's got some experience. He's not a horrible quarterback. There's guys that can, learn from him, and I think he's kind of like a placeholder for the next 2 to 3 years potentially, while they try and go look for a franchise guy, maybe a couple drafts from now, but continue to spend their high draft capital and cap space on building those skill positions, getting better defensively, especially in that secondary where they could improve a lot. So I think Jared Goff, I don't think he's going to be their guy for 10 years, but I think for 2 to 3 years, he'll be a serviceable guy, win some games for them, help, the rebuilding process get underway. But do I see him, staying in Detroit for the length of this whole rebuild process? No, I think it's a 2 to 3 year thing that Jared Goff is their guy. He's their starter. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're drafting a quarterback in the first round or anything like that. He's going to be a placeholder until they find that next franchise guy, maybe 2 or 3 drafts from now. But he still gives them a chance to win. And while they have him, they could focus on building the skill positions and, improving all areas of their roster as they head into a new rebuild under new head coach Dan Campbell.
And if I'm a Lions fan right now, I feel like I'd have kind of mixed opinions on this because, of course, you're happy about these first-round picks that you're going to get in the future, but also you traded away Matthew Stafford. Now you got Jared Goff coming in, and there's been mixed views about him and his play, and he's been someone who was drafted high. We had a lot of high hopes for him, and he hasn't lived up to everything really. If you're a Lions fan, I can see both sides why you're happy and why you're frustrated because you're getting those picks, but also the Lions fans have been suffering for such a long time. They want to win now, right? Of course, they're not a win now team, but they want to start playing good. And with Jared Goff coming there, I don't feel like many Lions fans are like, this is the guy that's going to save us. And that goes exactly to what Ryan said. I feel like he'll be a bridge to the really true rebuilding start for this team when they get those picks. So it might be a few more dark years in Detroit for a bit, but and if Jared Goff plays well, maybe things will pick up with him and they'll build a team around him. But I do feel like, in my opinion, it's not going to be his team once this rebuild is all said and done. I hope it is. I hope the best for Jared Goff, but I do feel like he is kind of a bridge into this true rebuild that this team is trying to make right now. They'll maybe draft a quarterback, or if Goff is doing enough, do some good things with him. I'm not quite sure what the future is going to look like, but I just do feel like there'll be a few more dark years in Detroit for a little bit, but after that, you've got to think the sun is coming up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Lions fans have said for a while, but maybe the sun is actually about to rise above the horizon in the next few years.
Yeah, I think the seed's been planted, as you said. But go ahead.
The sun seems to have risen on the table as I fix the mic. So, Jordan, you can take yours back. I apologize. It's been a mess on the left side of the table today here.
Yeah, it usually is.
Yeah, my face is bleeding. The mic wasn't working, but we're all set now. So we can continue this video on talking about the trade. And we've said a lot about it now. And I don't know if you guys have mentioned it already, but these first-round picks got to be down the road because the Rams have already given up their first-round picks. So it's way in the future, as Jordan mentioned.
This year.
So right now, it still could be dark, as I know Jordan said. But I'm just so excited to see quarterback swaps. We're starting to see more NBA-esque trades in the NFL now. Watson's probably going to get traded somewhere too. We're seeing these big trades, these blockbuster trades. It's exciting to see it. And
it's a really, really different and more fun year for trades. I don't know if it's just something about the way this year has worked out, but cool. I feel like there's so many people that are in such weird situations that want out of places, or there's drama with coaches like we've seen with Carson Wentz and stuff. There's just so many weird scenarios that are playing out this year, and I feel like we're in for a really fun off season. I do.
Yeah, and I mean,
this is the start of it.
This trade, I don't think it wasn't really a result of like any really bad blood or drama. I think Stafford and Detroit mutually agreed to part ways. There wasn't really any bad blood. I think both sides understood that it was
but it's still a different situation.
It's a different. Every one of these is different. Like with Watson, he's mad at the ownership. Wentz, there was beef with Peterson, and now it was just Matthew Stafford and Detroit saying, "Hey, I think the time has come for us to go our separate ways." So yeah, it has really been a unique, time for trades and transactions in the NFL, and it makes it quite interesting. Always cool when you see two QBs involved in a trade, and it's going to take some getting used to, but it'll be fun to see what happens for both of these teams as a result of it.
And Ryan, you have Jared Goff pulled up on your screen, so I just want to talk about him a bit more, and I want to ask you guys, Jared Goff, he's kind of in a weird position right now because, as I mentioned, drafted early by the Rams, he was expected to be their guy, and as we know, they let him go. So now Jared Goff has two options. He could either be upset that he wasn't good enough, or he could take the fact that the Rams thought he wasn't good enough. And of course, he'll respect the Rams and all they've done for him in his career. But he can take the fact that they wanted somebody else, that they didn't want him, and it can kind of be a spark inside of him that says, I need to play better, and I need to show this league what I am truly made of. I hope that spark happens in Jared Goff, And if you're a professional sports player, I hope that spark sets in your head in any person. So I do feel like Jared Goff will have that bit of a chip on his shoulder entering into Detroit. We might see some better gameplay with him. Just don't play good against the Bears, Jared, okay? Just don't do it.
Yes, please. And as Bears fans, Jordan and I, this is big for us too because we're not playing against Matthew Stafford twice.
I'm
we're
glad.
playing against
I
Jared
did
Goff
not
twice.
like playing Matthew Stafford. He for some reason seemed to
We
always
gotta play against Matthew
really play
Stafford
good
and Aaron
against us.
Rodgers both twice a year. It's just kind of rough.
And
Now we
Kirk
got Jared.
Cousins.
I mean, yes, him too.
Easy money.
Yeah, but it's just weird. We're gonna be seeing Matthew Stafford throwing to guys like Robert Woods and the
I'm
tight
ready.
ends that they got there.
Yeah.
And
Usually I wouldn't be ready, but I feel like I've already gotten used to it. I'm ready.
Yeah,
It
just
kind
seems-
of
And it happened a few hours ago.
Yeah, it feels good for the Rams. It feels good for Stafford. I mean, Stafford wants to, be on a contender, and the Rams want to go try and win a Super Bowl. And
I'm
I
happy
think
for the
it's gonna be a
Rams.
happy marriage.
I might be a bandwagon Rams fan this year. I mean, of course, I'll be a Bears fan at heart always, but there might be a team that I would follow more throughout the season and hope the best for them because I like Stafford. I like those other guys there too because I had Cam Akers on my fantasy team.
Yeah, well, the Rams have been a team
Robert Woods.
Yes.
Rams have been a team
And
that
Cooper Kupp, another one.
no doubt has been wanting to make trades, and they've made these big trades with Ramsey and now Stafford. And Jordan, you're right. It kind of feels weird that we're already kind of used to seeing this. I'm excited to see these two players play. But honestly, I think everyone wins in this situation except for one person, and I'll get to that in just a second. He's on Ryan's screen.
We win here, right? We win.
Yeah, we win at the table. We get a nice little trade to talk about. I
just think the Texans could be a winner in the long run with the
Oh, yeah,
package that was
let's
going
get
up for
there, too, in a
Stafford.
second.
I'm just
the
that's
Texans are a win because now that package was sent for Stafford, they can up the ante and say, okay, that's what Stafford got. This is what Watson better get a lot more than
if
what
the
Stafford
ownership is smart, which
we know is not always the case. I think the Lions win because they're getting their first rounders for the future and setting up their rebuild there, and they got a bridge quarterback or maybe even a possible franchise quarterback if he can switch things around. And I think Stafford wins going somewhere new and with a team that's got a chance to win a championship. The one guy I don't think wins here is Jared Goff, just because the fact that he's going from LA to Detroit, which is not. I mean, you think about football town. LA has been. I know they haven't had many fans, but they got that new stadium and everything was looking up in LA, and now he's going to Detroit, who's been a team that just has not been good for decades, it seems like, at this point. But there's a chance for a turnaround here with this big trade, and that could be the start of it. We're all excited
Light
here.
that spark, Jared.
You guys got any last points to say?
Yeah,
Light that
I
spark.
got one more thing to say about Jared Goff. You guys touched on it a little bit, but I mean, he's still a young guy. He's 26, and he's not horrible. I mean, his stats last year, in the regular season, 67% completion percentage, almost 4,000 yards passing, touchdowns 20, interceptions 13. So that ratio could probably improve. But this isn't a horrible player. This isn't even a guy that I'd fully say is a bust because he did go to a Super Bowl with the Rams. So, I mean, if you're Jared Goff, you got a fresh start. The Lions are your team. And, I mean, like we said, we think he's only going to be a bridge for a couple of years. The Lions probably think that too. But prove us and prove the Lions wrong. And, hey, maybe he outperforms our expectations and Detroit's expectations and ends up being their franchise guy. Who knows? But, yeah, he should be motivated. He should be grateful for this fresh start. And Jared Goff, the Detroit Lions are your team right now. Do what you can with it.
And, again, building off of that, I think in many Rams games we've seen some bad stuff from Jared Goff, right? But there's been other games where we see him playing as himself and we see him playing as an MVP caliber quarterback at sometimes, just the way that he'll have his on and off games. I'm a guy of consistency. I think Jared Goff can build that consistency with that spark that he needs to find. Jared, chip on the shoulder, light that spark into a fire and ignite the whole city of Detroit.
Well, let's not go that far.
Into
you don't want to burn a city.
Well, I mean, no, I would never want to burn a city. That's not good in any time. It was a metaphorical burning of the city, a burning of happiness in Detroit because they need it. And I know a Lions fan, and he needs it. And all Lions fans across Detroit, they need it. People talk about it. Detroit is a bad city. I've been there before. It's not that bad. I've seen Ford Field. It's not that bad. Light that fire, Jared. And everyone else in Detroit as well. I just want to say hi to DeAndre Swift and Daniel Jeremiah, who liked DeAndre Swift.
Swift. Okay, then.
I was trying to say, I was going to say Swift, and now, Tyler, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah.
So I got swift turnover.
I'm about to wrap this video up here, but I do want to mention the contracts are a big one because Goff got paid a lot of money. That's a big part why the Rams wanted to get rid of him.
They could restructure,
and why they were
right?
willing to give up so much to get rid of him. They could as well.
I don't know how that
works. And then
works.
also, I was looking at Ryan's screen and I
Yeah.
realized that 58.4 QBR for Jared Goff this year.
That's 23rd in the league.
Yeah, that's not bad. And a lot of the Rams' offense was a lot of screen passes and 5-yard plays to help the quarterback. And I think Sean McVay wants to kind of get away from that and open up the offense, and Matthew Stafford's ticker to that. So both these teams, I think, are looking ahead to possible success in the future. It seems like in the now, it's going to be the Rams, and in the future, the Lions have a chance to rise up and ignite that fire, as Jordan's saying.
Well, they're not the Falcons. They're not going to rise up, right?
Well, you get the point. So I just want to, last quick, who do you think guys won this trade really quickly? Just be one of the teams, and then buy a lot or buy a little? Jordan?
I'm going to take the Rams. As I said, I might be bandwagoning towards them a bit because I do think that they're in win-now mode. Had those guys on fantasy on that team, and I hope the best for their team. I think it's very close, though. I think it was a really good trade in the now. The Rams have a chance to do something special in the future. The Lions have a chance to finally build their team into the thing that they want it to be. I think both teams win. I just think that the Rams win it a bit more because I do see more potential of them going to a bowl. And it's not a bowl game, a Super Bowl.
Thanks for the clarification.
They're not going to go to the Cotton Bowl.
No.
Sorry, man. I say this all the time, but it's been a long video on something that I didn't think was going to be this.
Yeah, but I think
important.
It's a big trade.
It's a huge
big
move.
trade. We've had a good discussion, but I mean, when I think
I'll pull
about
out the juice box at this point.
don't throw it across the room.
Yeah.
When I think about this trade, I mean, I think with the Rams, you get Matthew Stafford. You really open up that Super Bowl window even more. You're full steam ahead. Win now. I'm talking. But I think right now, I think it helps the Rams more. But 5 years from now, when it's
overall, who do you think?
I don't know.
Pick a team. Go right now.
I know I can't
say
answer
it,
that.
Say it. Do it. Say it. We're not gonna know who won this trade until years down the line.
He's calling you.
So Ryan, I think you're just saying it's close. You don't want to.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of like what you said earlier. I think right now, no question, the Rams have opened their Super Bowl window even more. They're going all in. But 5 years from now, maybe more than that, as we see this rebuild process come to fruition in Detroit, they might get some young players that are really good with those draft picks. So it's just one of those things. Like Tyler said, I agree. Right now, the Rams, you win, full steam ahead. But 5 years from now, I think Detroit could be sitting real pretty with a lot of those young players that are from those draft picks they acquired. So time will tell. That's my answer.
Yeah, and I said it earlier, but I think the Lions win it just by a little bit because they were already a rebuilding team, so they needed time to get to where they are, and now this extra picks and Goff helps them do that a little bit here. So I'm going with the Lions by a little. So there it was. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you're still here, let us know you made it to the end because props to you because it got kind of wild at the end. Take a metaphorical sip of Jordan's juice box. If you can't hold it out for him again, Jordan.
Speaking of metaphors, Jared, light the fire that burns the city of Detroit into happiness.
You said that a lot this video, but thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, comment down below who you think won this trade and why. We'd love to know your guys' opinions on this trade as we gave you ours. Let us know your opinions on anything we said in this video. I think that's all I got to say. So with that, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.